We are looking at lesson 9 and we're talking about evaluating and comparing algebraic expressions. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of our new concepts for today and some of the problems that we're going to work on as well. So the first thing we want to take a look at is the idea of a numerical expression and the idea of an algebraic expression. So when we have like a math sentence or a math expression, really, that has just numbers and operations, so 2 plus 3 minus -7, this is a numeric expression. However, an algebraic expression has got to have variables and or numbers that are using the operation sign, so plus, minus, and all of that stuff. So we're going to be looking at algebraic expressions in a lot of these problems here. So let's look at example 1. We are evaluating algebraic expressions. So to evaluate means to get a numerical answer once you've done the correct substitution. We're going to evaluate this. So x is equal to 3. So we're going to put 3 in here and in here. There we go. And then we're going to put 1. We're going to put 1 in for A. And so we're literally just substituting. That should be a pretty straightforward process for you, I know. So my arrows are looking terrible, but you get the idea. So what I like to do is just do a quick rewrite and use parentheses for the number that we're substituting in there. Notice I'm putting that 3 that's replacing the x right in that parentheses there. And then I'm going to put a 1 here for what we're replacing A with. After that substitution, we're just going to rock with order of operations, which tells us to do multiplication first. So we get 9 minus 12 plus 3. 9 minus 12 is going to give us a -3. We're going to do subtraction and addition from left to right. So 9 minus 12 gives us a -3, and then -3 plus 3 gives us 0. So all that work to come up with nothing, but that's what we get. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next example. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so example 2 is evaluating expressions with exponents. So exponents, we know, are these little tiny numbers here, and we're going to do the same process. We're just going to substitute right in there. So everywhere there is a z, I'm going to put 4. Everywhere there's a y, I'm going to put 2. Once you've rewritten your problem, you're going to go ahead and simplify it just like you know to do with your order of operations. Do what's in the parentheses first. So we get 3 times 4 minus 2 is 2 to the second power minus 4 times 2 to the third. And now we're going to deal with the exponent. So 3 times 4 minus 4 times 8. And now we'll finish off by doing multiplication. And after we do our multiplication, we're going to go ahead and hit up that subtraction. So when I subtract, I get a -20 as my final answer. So here in example 3, we're going to do a comparison also while evaluating two expressions. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to substitute that A right in there for a 4th right in there for A, and then for B, we're going to use 3. So we rewrite everything by using our substitution as we do in the past, and then we're going to compare it to the other expression that we're going to substitute in there for. So you see what I'm doing. You see how this is working. And yeah, let's go ahead and do what we got to do. Let's do what's in parentheses first. Nothing to be done in parentheses on either side. So I'm going to use my skills and deal with the exponents. All right. And then we get 8 here, then over here. And then we're just going to keep doing the things that we need to do by multiplying out everything. Notice I got that there. So we got 48 here plus 6 minus 32. And we're going to be comparing that to 2 times 16 times 9, which is going to be like 72 times 2 times 2 again. So that's 144. I think this comes out to 288. If I did it wrong, don't be mad at me. And then clearly we can see that this side is going to be smaller than this side. Let's go ahead and finish the process. 48 and 6 is going to give us 54, I believe. And if we get to 54 and then we take 54 and we subtract 32, we're going to end up with 22. So 22 is clearly less than 288, and therefore we're going to use this symbol is less than to answer that question. You may have seen the mistake I made, and I just erased all this stuff over top of it, so I'm not going to go back to it, but I put a 2 in here instead of a 3. So my answer, all of the work I did over here, I had the 54, but I was subtracting a 32 because I thought that was an 8, blah, blah. I was wrong, is basically what I'm saying. So this should be negative 54 and a positive 288. And still we have the same situation where we're going to say that this is less than 288, but I did it wrong, and so that's disappointing. I'm sorry, but you can see the correct process in the text. Let's go ahead and try another one. Let me see if I can do this one right. All right, this is our last example. Let's try it again. Let's try this one. Example 4. A cell phone company charges $20 a monthly fee and then 45 cents per minute. The company uses this expression to find the total amount to charge for each month. How much would the company charge for 200 minutes? So we can take the 200 minutes and we're going to place it right into our formula. So $20 plus 45 cents per minute, but if the minutes are 200 minutes, then this is what we're going to use to calculate the answer. So what I'm getting here is that 0.45 times like 100, let's say I did 100, then 2, is going to move the decimal place over 2 spaces. So that's 45 times 2, which is 90. And then 20 plus 90 is going to give us 110. So the cost for that month, according to this bill, would be $110. All right, hopefully that was a little bit clearer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lesson. Make sure you do the lesson practice and try the practice here as well to get a little bit of review. I know it seems like it's tiresome, but guess what? The more you do this stuff, the stronger you're going to be. So keep working. Even if you're just doing the odds, do the best you can. All right, off to the next lesson. Take care. Here we are at lesson 10, and we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting real numbers. By the way, the fact that we're at a multiple of 10 lesson means that there should be a test coming, so be on the lookout for that. Let's see what we're going to be talking about here. So we're looking at adding and subtracting fractions and decimals, and I think you're actually good at this, but let's talk about it. Let's act like we got to do it for the first time. So here we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions and decimals. So let's take a look. The beautiful thing here is, I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm feeling really happy to see that all of these denominators are the same. And we know that it is really important for us to have common denominator when adding and subtracting. It is not important to have a common denominator when we're multiplying or dividing. So let's keep that in mind as we work on these problems. So here, we're just adding these up, and we're going to really be focusing on adding -1 plus 3. We're going to subtract 2. We're going to subtract a -4, and all of that is over 5. Hopefully that makes sense because the common denominator is 5. Basically, we're just dealing with the numerator. So when I add all of this up, -1 and 3 is going to give me a positive 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, and then 0 minus a -4. Minus is really a plus. Keep change, right? When I have that, I'm going to get a positive 4, so my final answer is 4/5. Let's look at this decimal problem here. Over here, we're dealing with the sum of 3.16 plus -1.22 minus 4.73 plus 5.6. And so one way to do these problems is to do a rewrite. 3.16 plus -1.22. Watch this. Keep change plus a -4.73 and then plus 5.6. So now what we can do is we can kind of add things in any order we want since it's all addition. I'm just telling you this because it's true. So if you can see something that you'd like to add, sometimes I like to add the positives and positives and a negative and negatives and then go from there. So I'm gonna do that. That kind of works for me. Adding these two positive numbers up, I get 8.76. Can you see that? The 6 and the 1 gives me a 7. This 6 is by itself, and the 5 and the 3 come up with an 8. And so now I'm going to add these negatives. Two negatives add up to be a negative, so I'm kind of comfortable with that. When all is said and done, I'm going to get a negative 5.95. Can you see that? When I add these two guys up, let me highlight it a certain color so we can see. So if I add up these two guys here, this one and this one, I'm going to get this down here. I'll get this value. All right, hopefully that kind of makes sense. All right, so now that I have that, I'm going to add these guys up, which I know since the signs are different, I'm going to subtract and take the sign of the bigger looking number. So my answer will be positive. So I end up with a positive 2.81 or 2 81/100ths. Here in example 2, we're going to be ordering from least to greatest. And so we need to be a little bit careful and thinking about what's going on. The first thing I notice is I've got a negative, and I know that's going to be the least. And now I'm looking at some of these other values. So I've got this negative. I've got this number that's really close to 0. And this number is closer to 1, and this number is right between 0 and 1. So I'm feeling confident that the order is going to be 0.125 next, then 1/2, and then 7/8. Here in example 3, we're going to be comparing rational expressions again. So we're now comparing these two values to see which one is greater. And so you know the deal, we're going to do what we've done before. Let's go ahead and join these guys together. 3 plus a negative 5 is going to be a negative 2. And then if I subtract 1 from that, it's like adding a negative 1, I'm going to get negative 3. So on the left side, I have negative 3/8. And on the right side, let's see how this works out. Let's join some things together. First, I'm going to do a quick rewrite. Negative 2.75 plus 6.25. Watch me, plus a negative 3.75. Since I'm adding everything together, I can change the order in which I add things. I'm going to bring these two guys together. So I have 6.25, that's the positive, plus this negative. If I join these guys together, 75 and 75 is 150. So then I'm going to get actually a negative 650, if you can believe that. I'm going to get a negative 650 here. Negative 650 is going to change into negative 650 plus positive 6.25 is going to give me a negative 0.25. And so I get to compare these, and it might be kind of hard to compare them. One thing I can do is translate this into a fraction. So I have negative 3/8. I know that 0.25 is really just 1/4. So now this might be a little bit easier for me to compare. And if I still need to compare a little bit closer, I can make them the same denominator. And when I do that, I can see clearly, right, that negative 2/8 is not equal to. Negative 2/8 is actually larger than negative 3/8. Do you see that? So this is the symbol I should have. This is the symbol I should have. All right. So this last one, we are looking at an application on investing. And so we see that Carly invested $250 into 2 accounts. So we've got investment A, investment B. And you can see that in each account, different things are happening. So after the first quarter, after the first 3 months, she had $255. So she made some money on her account. On investment A, and then she made just a bit more in investment B. So we can see that over a year, that's 4 quarters of a year, we see she made in the first investment $262. $262 was her final balance, and therefore she made, what would that be? $12.99 over the year. And in investment B, over the year, it looks like she ended up with $290.07, which is about a $40 investment growth over the year. So let's see what the question is. The first thing we're asked is, which investment grew more? And we talked about that, looking at the ending point and the starting point, subtracting it. And we saw that investment B definitely did better, and in which quarter did investment B grow the most. And so this is a matter of looking at investment B and checking out the differences and seeing what's the greatest amount of growth. So we know that it started off at 250, and then we can see that it made $10.66, and then we can check the changes here, and you can see they already did that. So here's the first change from 250 to 260.66, $10, $13 and some change, 5 and 21. So that final quarter is where we see the greatest difference. And that's what we have there. Okay, so that's it for this lesson, and that's it for this video. So make sure you work on the lesson practice, and you're going to talk to me, and we're going to have a test soon. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm excited to see how well you do, to see how much you've learned. All right, take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.